The Depth to Delve Deep by Rote Writer. Chapter 52. The Siege Perilous. Rote timidly taps the convent wrapper and attentively waits an answer. No answer. With his forefinger he pushes the buzzer. Again, another delay before the door opens a little, ajar enough to see one of the sisters sneak a peek. She profanely and disdainfully demands his reason of inquiry. Taken a bit aback by the unwelcome nature of the sister's demeanor, he responds incredulously, though conciliatory. Um, uh, is the bed still available? And so, can I have it? The sisters say, I'll have to ask my mother superior. She shuts the door swiftly behind her, seeking an answer. She shuts the door swiftly behind her, seeking an answer. Rote waits and waits. Upon her return, the door opens, though only enough to allow her blue-trimmed white wimple frock form to fit through, and, as in habits, say, "The room is now empty, but locked. No one is to enter it." No more is said as the door shuts. It is odd welcome. No ifs, buts, or maybes in her tone or telegraph. You'll have to find somewhere else to sleep that May Eve. Rote leaves the priory portal premises in a state of shock, bewildered not so much by the unwelcome way their hands are washed of him, but by the thought that lingers when he leaves. Why in the world would they have locked his old room? It really throws him for a loop. He exercises every part of his stay there trying to find something in kind, reason, or rhyme. Then it dawns on him. An exorcism. He looks, too, when the tide turns. Back then, after 8, the sisters would return to the rectory, while the convent crew stew on subjects and smoking. They'll sit there sipping tea, puffing smoke, just like men in any other club, conversing with their whiskey and cigars. Some of the conversations in the convent aren't wholly consecrated in Christianity. And if that's not enough, Rote's room being cluttered in the past with all sorts of Celtic literature. Whatever. He knows the big Beltane festival will take place that night, being the eve before May Day. He wants to attend, so he leaves the sisters' sanctuary, surmising that if perchance he would have been permitted to stay, they would surely not have sanctified air, let alone been able to bear the knowledge of a Celtic festival right up on Fulton Hill. He's had his eye on the hill from his former convent room with haunting view. Now out of view, Rote heads to a hostel stay just before his happenstance on homelessness. And funny, he feels his fate is formulating another forecast. Cloudy with a chance of showers, rolling thunder, and bolts of lightning ending in an extended period of drought. He lugs what bugs him from one corner of New Town containing the convent to an opposite corner of Old Town containing the castle. It's no picnic. By the time Rote arrives at the hostel, his arms have grown another inch. He stops at a branch of his bank along the way to see first if there's any money left, and second, how much and how far can he go with it. Rote's pleasantly surprised, well, not jumping for joy after checking his balance. He's a bit bothered by all of the exchanges from pounds to euros. Rote's left with no more than the pittance to pay for a night at a hostel and a deemed scheme in securing the fare to London. And maybe, just maybe, he'll have enough to pay for a night's stay in London if presumed late arrival should come to pass. He plans on leaving the following morning to Salisbury. He's sold on seeing Stonehenge and other sights surrounding Salisbury. After that, well, on the wing and the brew. After paying 11 quid for a one-night stay at the hostel May Eve, he heads to Calton Hill. He's attending the Scottish Garnered Gaelic Gala. Rote arrives several hours earlier, as if summoned supernaturally. He starts to stake out the site swinging a long, supple willow stick in semblance to a spirit rider several hours before the spring cleaning. Soon there are well over 10,000 people attentively tagging along the dramatic unveiling of the May Queen. A long procession of spring stages, set in costume and sounds, signifying the solemn rite of death and rebirth. While there, Rote sickened somewhat by the drunken display. The theatrical part of the ceremony carries certainty, even under the dire weather conditions. The masses of people don't. The usurping sounds of sots soil the spirit of the show. Rote's sad, but still stubborn enough to stay till the last act is reenacted. He leaves afterwards as the sole sick survivor of sobriety. Mayday. The castaway boards a bus back to London, barely with enough means to move on, though he does. His blue bags burden him. He carries them as if it's all he has to hold on to. He really doesn't want to. Ah, but Avalon lies